Welcome back to part 2. It is now, well, this is our big colonizing time, honestly. Colonizing and just trying not to lose. Mostly trying not to lose. Here we go. We do actually have two people being, how do you say? They don't like us very much, which is fair enough. Interesting enough, this is not when Ming decides to, well, allow them to revolt. Instead, we keep him under control for quite a while, actually, which is quite surprising. Anyhow, here soon comes my very big mistake where I decide, hey, you know that vassal that already hates me? Let's grow it a bit more. Which we do. Much to my own stupidity. But first, let's build a wonderful large navy once again. Well, as soon as we have the money for it. We have our good old allies everywhere. Oh no, I now remember why Ming rivaled us. Well, we already have, but I now remember why Ming decides to support the independence, because, you know Siak and how they're allied to Malacca? Yeah, we do a thing that we probably should not have done, which is attack them, and we pretty much fully annexed them. Which made Makassar lose. Well, they broke the alliance anyway because they were allied with said Siak. But even so, we attack them. They don't like us very much. And then we have that revolt that really messed things up for us. But I'll let you see that in your own time. Well, your own time meaning times 8 speed, but I'm sure you understand what I am trying to say. Now, as I was saying, after this there's a long bit of colonizing and just letting things go. At least it felt a lot longer when I was doing it. As you can see, well, if you saw it blink by, we actually have a pretty good relationship with our new vassal, more so than our old. Not entirely sure what made our old vassal so angry at us, but I suppose it is what it is. Here I was just entering from a save game. That was a bit of glitchiness. Oh dear. But in goes our next colony. We're thinking about colonizing Australia, but then I said I'd rather not because it would cause me to get a colonial nation. Something I am truly not currently looking for. Anyhow, now we just enjoy a bit of peace and conversions. Here we go. Ming has rivaled me. As you saw, the only rival they have is me. All these other nations around them, from Japan for example, nah. There's no reason for them to rival them. None at all. No reason. I'm a bit salty about that, as you can probably tell. Anyway, as you can see on the right, rebels are about to happen again. 20 of them, which is even larger than, well, any of the other ones we've had so far, which is getting a bit ridiculous, mostly because rebels are, of course, well, very built upon what your force limit is like, not necessarily how many troops you have, but it would be pretty nice if they would scale a bit regarding how much revolt risk they actually had compared to how much they, well, how much troops you have, but it's what Paradox did, and so be it. Now, our vassal has had a bit of a revolt problem. Funnily enough, they don't like us for the fact that we helped beat that rebel problem. Instead, they just, well, they hate us anyway. Our next colony is almost about to finish, always good to see. And yeah, we just continue colonizing for a bit. Ah yes, and conversions of course. Conversions was a big thing. Animus was spreading very nicely at the time. Not for long, obviously, but we gave it a shot. A very good shot. And Sulu are the next separatists. I think I dealt with them in a way that I think we just... How did we deal with them? Alright, we just suppress them, which is just as well. We were about to have a bit of a problem regarding peasants' war, because, well, we had a looming disaster and all that good stuff. 0 manpower does that to you. And there's only one more time that we expand, and that was, of course, Siak. After which, well, Ming decides that we are no longer meant to be in this world. Or at least not in our current power. And here comes our navy, because we are suddenly making money. Something all of us would like to be making, very much so. Now, what are we planning here? We are planning to engage Siak, because I am an idiot. I think we pretty much wait until the Peasants' War is no longer going to happen, and then we instantly declare. Or as instant as I was able to do it, because I think I forgot about the military access. But we'll see what happens there. Can you see that? We're suddenly down to 96. They no longer want to declare independence right away. What a beautiful sight. And our fleet grows even more. And Peasants' War has ended, which means it's time to build some good old armies. Decadence, of course decadence. We just gained this ability and then we lost it. Colony is about to finish in Pozo. I only remembered where that was. Oh right, that was the end of that island chain there. You see, I do remember these things. Now, troops are just shuffling around to get those rebels down, which we do eventually, but it does take a while. And eventually we will actually declare that war that I was talking about. Of course, first we have to deal with our good old rebels. Eventually. And gone they are. The Majipile separatists are also about to disappear. Something we feel most happy about. And the war is not going to happen yet, is it? Are we declaring it? Yeah, I think so. In we go. Oh yeah, of course I had to stop the bloody... what's it called? The word escapes me. Don't worry. Anyway, we do a good old straight blockade, which means we can pretty much deal with Siak by themselves as if Makassar never existed, which I found most pleasant. We're going to give all the stuff that Pasai owned back to Pasai and then take the rest for ourselves, I think. Which ended up being a bit of a problem because I never looked at the aggressive expansion it would cause. Not that we gained a coalition or anything, because that would just be reasonable, I would say. Yeah, that was a mistake. We shouldn't have actually gone into Makassar. We did win the battle, but there was no real point to actually being... well, sieging that land. Our vassal decides they want to try it, but even so, it wasn't a good idea. Here was deciding our second idea, which ended up being completely worthless because we never managed to expand into it. But we tried. Now, as you can see, by taking that land, I have inadvertently made Pasai even stronger. And as you can just see, Ming decided that, oh, they now want to be free. And here comes the battle. The battle that I end up losing. Kind of? I mean, I pretty much held out against them much longer than expected. So let's see, we start the war middle of 1529. And as you can see in the video, we're only about halfway through. So there's at least 5 minutes of struggle. which, if you expand times 8, of course, is more like, I can't do the math right now in my head, I'm no longer as sprightly as I used to. I don't even have, that's not the word. Anyway, 8 times 5 is just the 40 minutes, so an hour of struggle against, well, Ming, Ayutthaya, and both my vassals, who, mind you, I propped up, so if anything they should be thanking me, but yeah. We actually ended up attacking the Ming fleet, even though they were twice our size. We defeated them because, well, they were mostly galleys at the time. But, of course, as I said earlier, the Ming economy is not something you can take lightly. And due to the fact that the Ming economy is so large, it ended up being a bit of a case of they just build more heavies. I just checked what they wanted from me. Even though I had occupied their capital, they still wanted at least everything I owned, so I decided that was a bit much. But as we do. Our fleet is already decidedly weaker than it once was. We took a few loans to build Carax, see if that was possible. But of course Ayutthaya and Pasai and all that stuff just ganged up on me. So we fled to the islands and did what we could. It's already been 4 years of war. 4 years of struggle against the Ming. As a little, a minor. We're still a minor nation. We are pretty much Indonesia in the modern day. Well, considering that Indonesia doesn't have a civil war going on, but hey, there's always that problem. Anyway, so we try a few things. We see if we can't lure them into attacking us with smaller army stacks, or that we can just get our nation back. Problem is, they just have too many troops on that island and I can't get my troops off it. Or at least not to anywhere useful where I can block a strait. Since Makassar is allowing troop access, that makes my life mostly difficult. I did get a lot of gifts for some reason. Not entirely sure why, but we did. Here is my attempt to take back Borneo. Problem is, China saw that and they thought it was funny, so they sent, I think it was a 50 stack? They sent a 50 stack to take back Borneo, and I was slightly powerless to stop them. We're still about -50, and it's now the 7th war, the 7th year of this war. As you can see, the Ming has sent their giant fleet, now with heavies. Before that they were pretty much only galleys. As I said, the Ming economy is not something you fight against lightly. Here's our attempt at fighting back. I thought it was only the 17th stack, it was actually 35. And so the Ming has landed with most of their army. I just want to have a look at how big the Ming is, if they may be entering a second war. Anyway, from here it all goes downhill. We're now at 85 negative. Negative 85. Truly a terrible, terrible situation to be in. I'm going to try one last push. See if we can maybe convince them to leave our land. I know it's ridiculous to think that. But yeah. Most of his problems, it's partially my fault and it's partially the fault that the rivaling mechanic wasn't right, because if it was just Ayutthaya and my two vassals, I could have probably fought it off. But as you can see, the fact that Ming was in this was a bit... It made this a bit of an unwinnable war, especially at my current power level. Had I perhaps had I my vassals with me and fighting Ayutthaya and Ming, I might have actually won. But in this case, we're at -99. I would never click the sue peace button, and so I ended it